My rule that I tell men, and I will put this to women as well, but I want to hold the men accountable here today, is do not say anything to anyone on the internet that you wouldn't say to their face. So when I get done with this, my going through my points, and I get to the comments and I start responding to the things that y'all are saying in the comments, I'm sure there are going to be people disagreeing with me, but I'm not going to say anything to you through this screen that I would not say to you if you were sitting right here across from me. That's the rule that I hold myself to that standard, and I tell people to hold themselves to that standard, especially the males. Because again, in real life off the internet, in the era that I come from, again, if you're over the age of 40, any of you over the age of 40 knows this 100%. Before social media was a thing, the only way that you could really engage with another person was you had to actually talk to them in the flesh. Now, of course, you had physical mail. We usually didn't send letters to our friends. And then you had the phone. You could talk to somebody on the phone. But the only way you could speak to somebody on the phone usually is if you knew them from somewhere and they knew you from somewhere, which meant at some point, inevitably, whatever happened in that phone conversation, you're going to see this person in person again. And at which point you could and would be held accountable for anything that you said on the phone. And the era that we come from, those of you who are over the age of, let's say even 35, because you didn't have to be that old to understand this. You could be 10 years old and get this. Anything that you said to another person, you could be immediately held accountable for what you just said. You're at the playground, at the park, playing with your friends, and you say something to somebody that they didn't like, you might get punched in your face. That's the era that all of you remember this. Again, you're over 35, you know exactly what this was. Maybe you punched somebody in the face once. Maybe somebody punched you in the face. I suggest everybody should have the experience on both ends, especially males, but I digress from my point. Social media has created a platform where people can talk crazy to other people who you don't know and get away with it. And if you do this so often, you may start to believe this is just normal life. I can just say anything to anybody and nothing's going to happen to me because you have the distance of the internet and the screen. And again, you may even be anonymous to where nobody can find you anyway. And here's the problem. Here's the reason why this is a problem. Because if it just stayed on the internet, that'd be one thing. But what happens is most people eventually put their phones down and you do engage with other human beings. You may not do it as much as we used to have to do it because now we have this option. But eventually every human, no matter how much you use the internet, eventually you talk to a person in real life. Now, if you've been so conditioned that I can say anything to anybody and nothing's going to happen to me, you might put your phone down and talk to somebody in real life the way you would through TikTok until you realize, oh, that person's right there in front of me and they don't like what I just said. And now you are ill prepared to deal with the response of that person. This is one of the problems. And I see this on social media often. People just talking crazy to people who they don't know. And again, you can get away with it because they don't know who you are. And again, your name and face are hidden. What's going to happen to you?